Hey there team, welcome back to the channel, welcome to my overview of Stalker 2, Heart of Chornobyl. So for those on across that I do overviews on this channel, it's where I have a look at the first 2 hours of a game. That's the Steam refund window. Steam reckons you can make up your mind about whether you want to keep a game or not in that time, and I broadly speaking would agree, and say that 20 hours in, you're probably not going to change your mind about how you felt 2 hours in. So it's a short punchy video, broad strokes info, keep it around 10 minutes, and you can make up your mind on your own. Alright, straight out of the gate, Scarlet likes this. This is really cool, I'm really enjoying it. Again, I kind of wear my normie badge proudly. I don't have a background with Stalker. I've never played any of the Stalker anythings. There's all different versions and expansions and etc. And that's not for any reason other than I'm just a busy person and there's a lot of games to play. It's a shame that I haven't covered them, but here we are. Baby's first Stalker, normie reporting in. I really like it. I'm really sucked in. It's very immersive. It very much taps, look, I'm going to have to use things like Bethesda's Fallout, specifically Fallout 4 as a touchstone because I, for whatever reason at the time when that came out, I went down that rabbit hole and really played that quite a lot. So I kind of have more of an attachment to that over 3. I also have issues with a lot of the Bethesda mechanics, which, you know, this doesn't really have, being that I find like the RPG aspects of those Fallout games to be a bit of an embuggerance, a bit of a pain in the bum. So this is much more of an action shooter, I suppose you could say, but it seems to very much lean into the you're just another dude in the zone. However, you know, you still have a narrative that's pushing it through. It is very AAA bombastic, I guess like Far Cry games in a way. At least, you know, through that forced first-person perspective, let's grab the camera and force you through a cinematic narrative, which is cool. That's a strong part of the Far Cry games that I really like. However, as far as how it handles the open world mechanically, I would say it's a little bit different to that. But yeah, now that I say it out loud, I would say it is closer to that, more of an open world action adventure than, you know, a Fallout type thing. But I feel like I wouldn't be the only person making the Fallout comparison, given that it is sort of, you know, wasteland, radiated monsters and human factions. Like, there are a lot of touchstones, but in many ways, this is Euro Fallout, and Fallout's, well, Western Stalker. I don't know, maybe that helps zero it in a bit. But yeah, I'm really sucked in. The world looks really beautiful. Performance-wise, I've had some issues. I'm pretty much happily running it on high. I didn't notice a huge difference between ultra and high, and I've got a pretty high-end PC with a 40 series card in it. But the one thing I did notice is that the frame rate was never really super happily above 60. I'm not running on 4K or anything like that, but it does seem to be dipping as time has gone on, and I can't really be sure if that's sort of a memory leak, because I kind of did just marathon session that, or if it's because I'm getting into more built up areas. I'm in like a starter city, you know, there's more dudes moving around, more things going on, but by the time I hung it up, actually the frames were starting to dip out noticeably. So I guess just be aware. That kind of does give me the shits a little bit. Like, I'm not trying to flog the system, I'm just playing it on high, and I've got about as good a PC as you could possibly have at the moment. Though I have heard that maybe the Xbox console version is having a bit of a hard time as well. So who really knows? I don't get into the weeds, you know, with hardware optimization reviews, but for the most part, this has been fine. One thing that this really does capture that I like over something like Fallout, again, thematically I'm talking, wasteland survival sort of thing, is this whole Stalker mentality. Now look, I'm sure to a veteran this is all old hat, but this is from an idiot newbie coming in, caveman reporting in. Even coming into that first town, it's like a hub for all these lone stalkers. There are factions I'm starting to learn out, you know, and there are sort of locals as well, but the idea that there's a lot of just mercenary every man for himself, there's a code underpinning it. Like when you're out and about, everyone's pretty Wild West and can just kill each other, but there is something very, you know, frontiersmanship, the Wild West. I really like that sort of going out and exploring the unknown. And the framing for this is less about scrapping around in a post-apocalyptic scenario and trying to make the most of a miserable situation, and more that this is in a specific zone that people opt into. It might seem like a little thing, but it's kind of big actually for me and how I'm being immersed. Everyone in here has sort of got a bit of a thrill seeker, or, you know, I fucked my life up, or maybe they're looking for a redemption arc or riches or whatever. But yeah, everyone's coming in here hunting anomalies, fighting, scrounging, scavenging, and I just think that framing is really interesting. Gunplay's fine, solid, can't really say much more about that. There does seem to be sort of an emergent layer, and I think this is just more Stalker in a way, but there are factions moving around the world and they don't necessarily get along and they'll fight, and I've third-partied gang fights, and when I did that I knew I was really into this game, to be honest. There was some dudes holed up in a building surrounded by other dudes and they were shooting, oh, let's try and find a way in, and I kind of just watched it unravel until there was like one dude left and then sat him down. But that's cool. I'm sure that that encounter was probably lightly scripted in that it was set almost as a tutorial for me to walk into, but it did its job perfectly in that I'm keen, I'm sucked in. I attacked a compound full of dudes. Well, I mean, I walked up to them peacefully and they shot me, so I killed everyone. But yeah, the whole idea of throwing bolts at anomalies and hunting down these little things that you can equip, and you know, there's this internal lore which has kind of gone external to Stalker. I think a lot of people know about these sort of aspects. I don't think they're really carried across into something like Metro, but I think of Into the Radius and that, and it's almost become sort of Euro milsim horror lore in a way. Narratively, I don't really know what's going on just yet. Sort of, you're caught in between a bit of a MacGuffin thing. The game starts with an explosion and an anomaly getting launched out of the zone and landing in your apartment complex, so you just pick that up and off you go, and apparently it's a bit of a special MacGuffin, so you're running around doing scanners and you get double crossed and now you're chasing people on. It is very, carrot on a stick kind of pretty basic stuff, but it's ultimately it's just a bit of an excuse to get the ball rolling. Where the story goes and how deep it goes, I'm not sure yet. The sort of horror aspect of it is interesting. That's got me really compelled. I've been set upon by a couple of different bloody ROUSs sort of thing, like little sort of ferret things and then fatter bloody wombat looking things. I mean, obviously you're fighting dudes, but some invisible thing with the bloody predator mouth came up and gave me a hard time. That was a bit scary / terrifying. Actually, something else happened. I got some sort of anomaly. I don't know what was going on. I couldn't figure it out, or it was gloomy, and I was looking in this building and then something's like threw a box at me and took off 90% of my health, and I got the fuck out of there. In fact, actually, because of the nature of the construction, even with dealing with mobs of dudes and the sort of time to kill being so quick, like discretion is a part of the gameplay loop, which is cool. Honestly, it's a hard thing to do with a lot of gamers. I suffer from it as well, that the way that I'm going to solve every situation is just kill absolutely everything. But yeah, running away from whatever that monster flinging boxes at me was, nah. I don't even want to know. I'm not going back there. No way. So mission succeeded, I suppose, in getting a stereotypical shoot first, ask questions never kind of gamer to think outside the box a bit. Was pretty cool. But yeah, look, I don't want to waffle other than to say I'm really enjoying it, and I might actually really dig in and go deeper. I'm curious about this world, what's out there. And again, that sort of wanderlust, frontiersmanship, I haven't really felt in a AAA showing since something like Fallout 4. And yet, mechanically, I enjoy it infinitely more than what Bethesda usually brings. So, very cool. Anyway, I don't want to waffle. I believe it's on Game Pass as well, so there's an opportunity there. If you made it this far but you're still fence-city about getting on it, just check it out on Game Pass, see what you reckon. Anyway, team, might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.